Hello, it's me, Just and I have a replay that I'm going to look at between, I think these are like number 4 and number 5 on the leaderboards right now for standard. lvjd1828 and Raahka, they're both super high rated right now. Both extremely good players. This replay is on Blood on My Hands, a map near and dear to my heart. I think this is like the first league map that I played on. It's the first map I know that I was like, oh, okay, I need to like really figure out what's going on here. First map I felt the need to sit down and figure out what's going on. Raahka, player 1, orange star, bottom side. Playing as Rachel, lvjd1828. Lash, blue moon, top side. So, let's get into it. Okay, this is, I think, a little strange. I say only a little strange, but like this totally makes sense to me because I understand. Because, like I said, I've looked into this map before, and if you don't get this airport really soon, it's definitely possible to get reconned out because it's very difficult to have a tank cover both of these options because of these two forests. It makes sense to me why Raahka wants to immediately capture this. It also makes sense that lvjd1828 is able to get this city first because of the first turn advantage counter infantry, making the full cap much safer. But it can't feel good to feel like this is necessary. And yeah, it looks like Raahka is going to try to take advantage of the fact that lvjd1828 went for the full cap here. Oh, this is also interesting. lvjd1828 didn't move this off the city. He completed this capture, and I know that the generally standard play is what Raahka did here to go for this inside base. Not doing that is pretty interesting. This is neat. It's cool to see them going for very disparate strategies. Raahka going for the early base cap and the early airport, and lvjd1828 just not interested in any early production properties, just trying to secure an income lead early on. So we'll see how that works. So here's the tank, but the tank, as you can see, can't actually protect this infantry once it goes for this cap. Or, I don't know. It'll work out. I wonder if this infantry will go forward. Maybe it'll move to here so that it can move on to this. But then, it's such a strange situation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. Okay, so if this recon parks on the city, it can move on to the airport freely. And I don't think that this tank can. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can't move onto this shoal from like this tile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can move. It can only move on. So I don't think it's actually possible for this tank to protect both of these properties. I think that there needs to be one more tank in order to protect both. Maybe it could just move over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I mean, I don't think it can unless you move the tank like here. Next turn, I don't think that it can go somewhere where it can protect both properties. So one of these caps is going to get delayed by like a turn. And yeah, this is the move that lvjd1828 goes for. He has the option to move this infantry forward here. Okay, so there's no chance of lvjd1828 starting to cap this airport this turn because the recon is on it. Okay, so this is good enough. I'm curious to see what this recon will do now. Just delaying this, having this recon delay this cap by one turn doesn't seem all that good. Okay, well now I know what this recon's going to do. It's going to back off. It's got to back off this way. Oh no, he's gonna shoot? Okay, yeah. No, this is maybe kind of smart. It can survive the tank shot, I think, on the... While on the city, I think that it can survive the tank shot. Yeah, it can. This isn't that bad. Oh no, it's Lash, hold on. Okay, I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? It's decent, and there's not another infantry that's going to be able to finish, that's going to be able to cap this for some time. And Raahka's going to be able to build from this. Yeah, lvjd1828's already got the anti-air ready for the B-copter coming out of here. People talk a lot about how good B-copters are on this map. Does not opt for it. It's going for the tank. So, okay, this is actually kind of good for Raahka, right? Because Raahka or lvjd1828 saw that Raahka had this super early airport. Like, okay, well, he's going for the battlecopter and pre-built this AA. This AA is still going to be able to be useful. Obviously, it's still not too bad, but this tank is going to try to chase this anti-air at least to some degree. I think that's interesting that like Raahka was able to like win this rock paper scissors because he was able to play. He was able to play second in that particular instance. Okay, so this recon is able to retreat a sufficient distance that it's not in danger of dying anymore. But like this 3 HP recon, not exactly what I think of as a super useful unit. I hope that it's gotten enough. I mean, it delayed this, I think, 4 turns probably. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So yeah, that's probably worth it. It got its income worth of delay, right? That's like how you can measure that, I think. It might have been 3,000. But it's at least decent. So okay, so the neutral properties that really important right now are these two on this left side, especially with this tank able to threaten both of them. This tank coming to protect here. If the longer that Raahka can keep lvjd1828 off of this little island, obviously the better. But I'm not certain how practical it actually is to try to do that. Here's an artillery for lvjd1828. I didn't catch that. No distinct income advantage at the moment. Artillery for the left side as well. This is interesting. Oh yeah, neither of them are captured. I forgot about this near airport. Neither of them captured it yet. Both like a turn away from it, I suppose. So it's just a game of chicken. I think this is just a game of chicken. I don't think that this recon can really go anywhere. I don't think this tank can either. This tank is kind of this doesn't feel good. This situation where this tank can stop this capture onto the comm tower. This is smart to have something to start capping the comm tower. This doesn't really threaten it, but it's close enough. And Raahka is building an artillery on the right side. This mech is also really, really interesting. I don't know what that mech is going to do. There's no transport to help it out. Okay. lvjd sacrifices that 3 health infantry that the recon hit into this contested property here and starts capturing the airport. Does stop this capture of the comm tower. See how that turns out. This is really scary. This looks like, I don't know. I don't think this is quite enough to take the city, but it's enough to make Raahka not be able to move forward. Okay, so Raahka delays this airport yet another turn with a recon. The same recon. It's got no HP. 2 is the same as 0. And starts preventing the cap on this left side city. It shouldn't be closer to lvjd1828. It's interesting. So he starts capping this again. I suppose that there's not a lot that lvjd1828 can do here, because if he hits this infantry to stop it from making the cap completely, then he's going to get blown up by the tank. What are the alternatives? What else could happen? He can hit this infantry and get blown up by this tank. I think this ought to back off. I suppose he could hit this tank, but then there's a tank produced here. That's not so good. There's going to be a tank produced here. This is the first battle Katas. That's a big deal. Yeah. This tank has to protect this tank. Okay, so this infantry and this tank are protecting the battlecopter from the anti-air. That's good. Oh, okay, yeah, the tank backs up and hits the infantry. This was a really aggressive cap. 2 mechs. Okay, this is probably... I don't know how safe this actually is. I'm curious about this. It really doesn't feel like this tank is enough to challenge these 2 artilleries. Especially because the artilleries are cheaper. Having just 2 artilleries and like a bunch of infantry in this corridor is actually like way better than I'd ever considered. Yeah, like this is... you only need like 3 units to make this kind of threat, and this is more or less reasonable. It doesn't matter how far deep this goes, really. Actually, maybe that's not true. Yeah, it's not quite true, because if this tank was able to get into this forest, then it wouldn't be. But I do like this formation. Okay, and the artillery backs up because it knows that it's endangered from the battlecopter. Another anti-air and a recon. This is a late recon. I'm always interested in late recons. Raahka does have a pretty significant seeming funds lead. Interesting. What's going on? Okay. Okay, so lvjd1828. What did Raahka build this turn? Just what? This is what is going on? Okay. I feel like I'm having a stroke. This looks familiar. Okay. Yeah. This looks a lot more correct. So, what did Raahka build this turn? An artillery, and it's 2 infantry. So, cheap build, saving money. Kind of got spoiled on what he's building with it, but it'll still be exciting. Pushing forward on the right side. 2 artillery is more artilleries than 1. And without this tank being a direct threat to the anti-air, the battlecopter cannot save this side. And because of the lack of vehicles on the left side for Raahka, all of those vehicles are in the center, which is really not where he wants them to be, truthfully. These sides are not going well, it doesn't feel. These 2 artillery are able to hold their ground against the tank. And he's able to capture the city with the threat of both artillery. Maybe not. I think it will, though. Okay, yeah, and Raahka immediately builds this battleship. This is what Raahka wanted. Knew that he wanted this battleship. And that's kind of neat because I've never done analysis on a game where a naval unit has been built by like someone's own free will. This is the first time I've ever seen a battleship like this in a ranked game. I've never seen it before. It's my first time ever. Never built one. Never thought that building one would be a good idea. I'm interested to see how this plays out for Raahka. I know that battleships are mad good. It seems really strong here because you can have it stand. Like, I don't know where else it would go, I guess. You can have it cover this base. That's not an option I'd ever thought about. This is an interesting tile for it to be on because it can go through the island like this. I think that just standing on the port is a really good idea because nobody cares if you stand on your own port. Like, what are you going to do? Build another battleship? And then it blocks any of these units from coming in and trying to mess with your airport from this side. That seems pretty decent. It would also heal it each turn. Maybe that's too expensive. Maybe you don't want to do that just because it's really expensive for that to happen. If, like, it would be really annoying for this tank to drive up and hit it and deal even 1 damage. Because you spend like 2,000 on it next turn repairing it, right? It's super expensive. Almost 3,000. Okay. Raahka's finally got the command tower. And it still has a really significant income lead. Okay, I see the way that Raahka's approaching this. So he needs he hit the anti-air with the artillery in order to provide some cover for the battlecopter. Now the battlecopter hit. I guess the battlecopter has to hit the recon because otherwise this recon is just going to melt any infantry that he needs to have here in order to protect the artillery. Like the. It's not even true. I suppose he just needs like units here at all to stop this from progressing forward and stopping clogging up this base. If something gets on top of that base, then yeah, it's game over. I would think. Okay, so Raahka is going to sacrifice an infantry to stop this cap for a turn. I suppose it makes sense when you got a big income lead that you can afford to sacrifice some number of infantry to keep it. Every turn that Raahka has like a 4,000 income lead, that's a big deal. It allows Raahka to do silly things like build this battleship. Okay, so you gave up this cap. lvjd1828 says he doesn't need the income advantage. And judging from that right side, he doesn't. Okay, the battleship blows up 1 artillery. I don't see how Raahka's obviously not going to be able to gain control of that again. This income lead is crumbling down. This tank is dead. This is not good. Well, there's a lot of things that aren't good that are happening right now. lvjd1828 is just fearsome. These mechs did pay off. You just walked them forward, basically, and there were tanks in the middle somehow. I mean, these mechs have been coming for like, what, literally like 7 days now or something. I mean, it's been forever. And there was still somehow a tank there that lvjd1828 was able to predict. I don't know. The amount of foresight that needed was insane. It's just incredible. But the good artillery formations on both sides, it feels like, have led lvjd1828 to be winning on all three fronts, seemingly. The only thing that Raahka had going for him was the massive income lead that he had, but now that's been more or less equalized. I suppose that covering fire is going to make a big difference in the next turn, so I don't think this is like over. That is a big covering fire. Where all did this hit? So here's one, here's two. Is this three? This is three down here. 1, 2, 3. How much economic damage did that do? 11k? Raahka still needs a good turn to make this like really fearsome. One of these two artillery is going to hit this battleship. I suppose you could move it, but that doesn't seem really good. And I didn't even realize lvjd1828 just built a sub to, I guess, sink the battleship. Which, I mean, I guess like that. I don't know. It's a lot of money to invest in killing that battleship when it feels like it's almost past its usefulness already, just because the units have gotten through over here, more or less. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. How much damage would this do? Wow, like nothing. Man, yeah, I guess he needs everything he can to take down that battleship. That battleship's massive. It's an absolute unit. That's a lot of economic damage. It's so expensive for that sub, and then lvjd1828 is gonna have to repair it, and that's still like, it still wasn't hitting enough. It wasn't hitting that battleship enough at full health, and it's not gonna hit it for like anything at 5. That's a big issue. Okay, got infantry hitting the mechs. Got tanks hitting artillery. Still stomping caps. Terrain tactics. Lash. No, it's a Lash regular power. Is he gonna use this movement for something? Does he just need the bonus firepower? What do you need the bonus firepower for? Didn't need it for that. I don't think he needed it for that. It could have needed it for that. And that seems pretty decent. It's really strange that all of these resources seem to be dedicated just to taking out this battleship, when like I said, I don't really know if it was however useful that useful is. Like, this is a lot less value than this battleship, but this feels like it's doing way more. These forces of Raahka have not been able to get through this, but all these forces, if they wanted to, could just leave. They could just go this way, and they could go through this forest, they could kill all these infantry, and they could just leave. And what would Raahka's battleship do? It can't get past these shoals. It's locked into these shoals, so it can't defend its own base at all. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me to dedicate this number of resources to killing this battleship. I mean, Rocket's fighting back. Like, this does look good. I don't exactly understand. I guess it's just the number of tanks. Okay, yeah, we saw this turn. So this is the end. Okay, so a lot of these left. So how did this get so good for Raahka? Okay, yeah, he's hitting this artillery, but that's at the cost of this artillery hitting the other one next turn. Okay, so the mechs are destroyed. That's good. This battleship helps kill this tank on the airport. That's a big deal. The anti-air next to it gets destroyed, so there's no anti-air in this immediate area now. Like, these anti-air are really weak, and they're going to have to go through these tanks in order to do anything. They can't. This isn't a convincing defensive formation, but even if lvjd1828 was to break through here, there's nothing to actually kill the artillery, and then the tanks would be able to follow up. So yeah, I guess I'm just wrong. This battleship's been doing lots and lots and lots of work. This might die. Artillery, okay, the artillery doesn't hit it. Battleship looks like it's gonna survive. I wonder if these are groups that lvjd1828 is willing to lose to covering fire. Does Raahka have a good way to get it this turn? I don't know. It's not obvious. Doesn't have like a way to crash this. He doesn't have a good way to crash this helicopter. He doesn't really have any way to crash this helicopter. Doesn't need to get that much though. I think he'll get it. Yeah, he's like got it. $100 funds off. Okay, so there's the covering fire. Yep. Okay, so it hit here twice and here once. That's just devastating to hit all this stuff twice. This sub, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much it really did. This battleship isn't dead, so not enough, I guess, is the answer. Interesting. lvjd1828 goes for the terrain tactics again. I'm so used to Lash just using superpower, the prime tactics. Seeing the regular power being used is definitely neat. I mean, it's not a long bar, is it? Is it 4? Yeah, it is 4. That's I don't know. That is long. It's just a little long for what it does. I know that it doesn't feel good to, like, basically it's like a depending on the circumstance, I guess it can be better than Adder's power, but it doesn't usually feel better than Adder's power. You pay for it. Okay, that's kind of a neat trick. The sub can hide and go to the port and heal up that way. Okay. Okay. So this battleship, there's a couple of things about this battleship movement that I think are really important. There's one that it's covering all of this area, obviously. The I think that LVJD will probably sacrifice this tank. I don't think he has a choice but to sacrifice the tank. He could run the tank left, I guess, but and probably back up the artillery. The other thing is that it's not going to be depleting his funds every turn, which is a big deal. He's sort of been playing at a funds handicap for a large part of the game because every turn this battleship would get healed, and it's like 6,000 every time. It's almost 6,000 every time it gets healed for 2. And he's Rachel, which means it's getting healed for 3, which means it's almost 9,000 every turn. Jeez. Not quite 9,000, but it's almost. I didn't even think about Rachel, the bonus healing. But then also, I mean, obviously it's been really good. Like, it's absorbed a huge amount of damage for him. It's been strong. That's not the contention. The contention is that it costs a lot of money. That's absolutely true. Anti-air's died down enough where Raahka feels comfortable building a battlecopter and infantry, and that's all the funds they got. Okay. Yeah, this is a good path for the tanks. I didn't really think about that. These two shoals. That's a good path. So, lvjd1828 is able to get the low HP tank out alive. Probably is going to be able to get the, gets the artillery out alive as well. Builds another artillery. Builds another battle copter. For the first time in a long time, Raahka is starting with 20,000 funds. This anti-air is going to be putting in a lot of work in the coming turns, because these two copters are going to have much more limited movement ranges than they otherwise would. The battleship moved again. It didn't have any valid targets, so I suppose that makes sense. Is this 3 HP sub going to do enough? Maybe if it just stands here so that the battleship can't heal anymore, that's like sufficient. Do you have vision of a cloaked unit sub or stealth when it's over your city? I think you do. Not when it travels through, but when it parks on it, I think you know. Okay, that's respectable. Those are good B-copter movements. This middle situation is really hard to discern. And lvjd1828 is getting pushed back in the top right, but pushing forward in the left side. Okay, another anti-air coming out. Raahka. And another battle copter. Okay, all the vehicles that Raahka had in the center are just gone, and this cap, since it was like a 6 HP cap or something, it was a really weird sequence. I don't think it was 6, but this cap is totally chegged. It's not gonna happen. Battleship needs to get back to port. Okay, he's giving it up. Says, I've had my fair share of that battleship. Not a lot else happening that turn. I think the most important thing was that this battleship got given up. Another artillery built on the left side. Gonna try to hold, I suppose, at the cutoff. Another artillery for the center, but I mean, I don't know what that's going to accomplish. 3 artillery. That's basically it. And that battleship has been sunk. I mean, that did survive a crazy long time. It had to survive almost 10 turns, if not more. I was not expecting that. Also, this game is super long. many tanks does Raahka have? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. lvjd 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. These two. Yeah, it's curious. Raahka's ready for the covering fire. I wonder, Raahka had it last turn, right? Wonder what stopped Raahka from popping it here. I suppose it's because this is a likely target, and maybe this isn't valuable enough to want to use it. This is this. It's either here or here is the infantry target. Here is certainly the health target, I think. But it is curious. Giving your opponent a chance to move infantry when they know that you've got covering fire doesn't seem good. And the chances, it's not like Jake, where like usually people expect you to use Blackrock and you might be able to get away with using the range increasing power every now and then. It's not like anyone's going to use Lucky Lass. Watch Raahka use Lucky Lass and totally make me look like an idiot. That'd be crazy. I'd get hyped for Lucky Lass. So this is designed to absorb a missile, an infantry missile, because there's nothing besides infantry in it. Sure enough. But also, absorb anything else? How did this work? How did this take 4 health? That's a huge amount of damage. How did it take so much damage? All of the missiles hit here? What? I regret not opening a move planner. Inventory cost HP. What? 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 I'll send this to Walker, I guess. Anyways. Yeah, this isn't so hot. Okay, so yeah, no, these got hit. So that's something. Yeah, so it's 2 here and 1 here. No fighting at all that turn? Question mark. Also, this sub guy hit, but because it's I see, because it's cloaked, it doesn't show. That's the cost missile. So the HP and the infantry missile hit here. Yeah, the cost missile hit here. It's a little strange that LVJD fired this, I think, rather than just backing up. If you didn't back up, it's not like there's any of these infantry that can move on to the city. But I suppose there's nothing that can move on to this, move next to the city and hit the artillery either. So the artillery is safe. Is the better positioning for next turn really worth so much? Really worth so little that firing was a better idea? I don't know. Rocket. I see rockets on this map rather frequently. I feel like things have more or less stabilized, and this is like the first kind of like retreating and regrouping that we're seeing, which seems like it's to Raahka's advantage. It seems like lvjd1828 had a lot going for him, but just couldn't seal the deal, and now the unit count is getting more even. Net worth is still really close. It's crazy that the game is this close 23 days in. Two battleships in one game. You gotta be kidding me. This is nuts. This is an anime showdown now. He X-cop, I don't know, the Sharingan is the copying jutsu. I don't know. I know X-copy from Street Fighter 3. He X-copy. He saw the battleship build. lvjd1828 is like, oh, I can X-copy that. Got the X-copy. Okay, so we got this really powerful horizontal formation here. Obviously really, really good. Backed up by 2 artillery, 2 tanks, battlecopter, 3 battlecopters, almost 3 tanks, 2.5 tanks. Center formation looking strong, also backed up, similarly backed up. Looks like this artillery is going to want to get out of dodge next turn. This turn doesn't have a firing target. The rocket's safe from the copter, but doesn't look like anything can move on the city because this battleship is here. These forces of Raahka are going to have to move towards the left side, I think, in order to clear out that battleship. If Raahka wants this left side, maybe Raahka doesn't need the left side. The battleship's also covering this city, so that'll do. Moving in. How do you sneak this up here so far? Yeah, okay. So going on the mountain, top left mountain. Yeah. That's mad good. And it does back away from the city. Just lets the battleship cover it. This isn't really difficult to attack. I think this rocket can form in a way that it'll be able to threaten this tank, but not much further. Stuff in front of it's going to start getting a little weak. This... Okay, no, I thought that this sub was going to be parked on the dock, but honestly just letting it die doesn't seem all that bad. There's a lot of battle copters. 8 battle copters. Just 6. And you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no anti-air around. There's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no anti-air around the battleship. Maybe these battle copters are the secret. And yeah, sure enough, this rocket is now threatening the tank. Rocket has a little bit of room to move forward, but not much. What a cheeky attack with that copter. They might actually be what Raahka wanted in order to move more of these copters in to striking range of the battleship safely. I suppose this battlecopter or this battlecopter will cover the area that this one gave up. No. Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah. It's at the end of this turn. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty threatening. Moving this battleship forward. Day 25, huh? Okay, this is smart. Put the artillery and the rockets here. So that LVJD has to pick which one he wants to threaten. 2 battlecopters in range. So if this battlecopter moves, these 2 will be able to go onto the... Well, this one is also going to be able to move. But it's a decent idea. I don't know what else Raahka could do. What happened? Yeah, I know. That's like next turn. Oh, it plays the animation because it would have sunk this turn, but it gets refueled. So, we do... Yeah, that we knew that lvjd1828 activated prime tactics. The assault begins. Wow, this is hurting. This is hurting bad. Wow. Oh man, because the bonus damage from the reef even. Okay, this right side is not good. Okay, so does Raahka have a way back in? Okay, that's actually pretty decent attack. Would feel good if you could kill the battleship, but this is the next best thing. Doesn't really have like a way to attack into these, because like he's got 1 tank. That's like it. It's not like this 3 tank force for lvjd over here. A rocket on the right side. Replace the rocket that he lost on the left side. Nice rocket strike, or nice B-copter strikes over here. Man, he got the first strike on like all of them, and there's just not enough AA. I don't think that lvjd1828 could have asked for much more in terms of the copter strikes that he got over here. This is the only one that's missing. It's just not enough to fight all the other ones, especially with these 2 backing him up. Raahka's turn. We're not gonna see a whole lot more. Okay, we got decent comebacks. Wow. Nice covering. Man, that hurts. Okay. So this is pretty decent. This sub has actually done a really good job of drawing missiles for lvjd1828. Then something to think about is that it becomes a lot more difficult to predict where you need to put missiles with that dumb sub sneaking around. You can't tell where your missiles are going to go because you don't know where the sub is. But, I mean, there's no doubt this has been a much better turn than I would have expected. For Raahka. Somehow salvaged most of the copter situation, got the kill on the battleship, did a bazillion damage with the missile to all these infantry, which are significant. These are really, really good bodies, just walls. These are stones on a go board that you cannot pass. Breaking up this meat is really important for Raahka, and I mean, it doesn't feel good to have both missiles dropped. Not getting a missile over here doesn't, up in these artillery units, doesn't feel good. But Raahka's working on it. lvjd1828. That's a big cap. This is really significant funds lead. And it's going to get more significant because I don't know how Raahka can take back this island. Raahka almost needed like a missile on the left side instead of the rocket that he had built. Prime tactics again? Oh no. Man, this is massive. This is like a 16 unit difference. And that is the last turn. 29 days. These two tight. Oh, and he built a stealth. Jeez. Yeah, that's it. Raahka can't spare the funds. Or, yeah, the funds is really the biggest issue for the fighter to deal with it. Getting pushed in at every side. What a crazy game. What a long game. And it's hard to say what I think was significant issues. I know that one significant issue is that Raahka could never afford a melee vehicle on the left side, that it was only ever artillery against the 2 artillery that lvjd1828 had on the left side for like forever. And just having the artillery versus artillery, lvjd1828s were there first. If Raahka could have afforded like one more tank, then I don't feel like they could have done as much as they did, but was really difficult to do. Had that early battleship play. Not really sure how. I mean, it's such a strange thing. Like, would it have been better if Raahka was not Rachel? Would it have been worse if Raahka was not Rachel? I'd like to talk to Raahka about it. Because, I mean, it seemed like a thing that he knew was, like, going to be the thing that he did. And I don't know how all of the I don't know how the CO choice played into it, because being able to park it on the dock and get it repaired 3 each turn when it's as tanky as it is definitely really strong, but it also saps all of your money. You have to be able to like, I think that if let's go back and look at this for a while. When was it built? So yeah, if Raahka had controlled this city, that's what I thought, is that Raahka didn't control it. If Raahka could have used this battleship to gain control of the city, which I don't think that he ever did, he didn't, and he actually lost control. He somehow, lvjd1828 was able to get the city while Raahka had this battleship. But I feel like if that was the case, if Raahka could have used that to control, I think they did capture. Yeah, he was able to capture this one with it. That's a big deal. If we could have gotten these 2 with that battleship, I think it certainly would have been worth it. Controlling both of these would have been a really big deal, because then it would have been 24k funds to 22k, or to 20k, 24 to 20. 4,000 more a turn. That's pretty significant. The sub managed to tank way more than I thought it would be able to. The sub definitely, by the end of the game, it was certainly worth. I had my doubts. I was skeptical, but seeing it absorb missiles time and time again, seeing it be able to damage, seeing it how it was crucial in limiting how effective the battleship could be. Yeah, I mean, that, I don't know what else lvjd1828 would have done. He had to build something to take out the battleship. So that seems like the thing to do. Anyways, this analysis has gone on long enough. I'm free. And now, so are you.